just think of any artist that you know from the '90s or late '80s through the '90s. I worked with them. I worked with every Jackson except for Michael Jackson. Michael always had his own crew because once you were hired by Michael, you didn't want to leave. That was like a career just to work for him. But everybody else, like my number one artist that I worked for to this day was Lou Ross.
Lou Ross.
I was his road manager for 2 years. I was with Lou Ross. But that's such a great guy, man. One of the greatest people, humans that I've ever met. Uh, God bless him.
Today's guest is one of those names you may not hear on stage, but without him, the stage doesn't exist. His name is Tony Wilson. He's a Detroit original who helped bring entertainment into the city's casinos, including the early days of Greektown. So when Detroit was redefining its nightlife and its entertainment structure, he was one of the ones that helped birth that. So with over 30 years of experience in production, transportation, and logistics, Tony's career is a masterclass in longevity. So if you ever wondered who was the one behind bringing those stars in town, this is your guy. So I want y'all to give a warm welcome, a warm disruptor welcome to my guy, Tony Wilson.
Brother Rhymes, how you doing, sir?
Man, what's good, Tone?
Man, thanks.
That was a long introduction.
Yeah, wait till Tuesday to cash that check. Man,
Hey,
I don't even know what to say now.
listen, man. Listen, I just found out that there's more to it. So I'm just looking forward to hearing the story, man. Tell the people who you are and what you do.
All right, hello to everybody. Happy New Year. So glad to be on here with my brother, Brother Rhymes. Thank you so much for having me. But yeah, entertainment production is my life. Has been for 40 years actually. Started out just doing my own thing with, like you say, Tony, my other partner, doing production. And I actually got hired first through Shahida Mausi, who hired me while she was doing all the entertainment for MGM. And she hired me as her stage manager. So yeah, she hired me as artists came into MGM. I was the guy that welcomed them to the casino and did all they set up all the production so they could sound good. I did that for quite a while, and while doing that, Greektown was building their casino, and when they had the casino itself built, they didn't have a department for AV and for entertainment. Again, at the same time, I was doing an event called Tropical Thursdays every Thursday at the Omni Hotel right on the Detroit River. And every Thursday, I would have five different artists performing from 5 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. And I saw what Greetown was doing, so I said, just in case, I'm gonna save a table for them to sit at in case they happen to come in and see my show. So lo and behold, they started coming every Thursday. So one particular Thursday, I said, well, let me introduce myself. So I introduced myself to it was like five different VPs there at Greektown, from Greektown, and the VP of marketing, Tom Willer, said, "Hey man, are you able to have breakfast in the morning?" I said, "Oh, for free?" He said, "Yeah." So I said, "It's early, but yeah, I can do that." So I met him at the Pontchartrain in Detroit, right there on Jefferson, and we sitting there having breakfast. And he said, "Well, I want to see if you can work with us because I need a." At this point, it was just an AV guy. So he wrote down some numbers on what he thought they could afford to pay me, and it was on a piece of paper, a napkin, as a matter of fact, that we were put had on our laps. So I saw I made a note. The letter that he sent me, I made a note right below it saying, "No, that's not enough. I'm doing too much. That's not enough money for me to stop what I'm doing." So that went over 5 different breakfasts. Every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, 5 different times. So finally, the numbers started making sense. So I ended up saying, okay, this sounds good. But I put a couple things in there, like one in particular was that I still had to use my own cell phone. Because at this point, getting hired by Greytown or pretty much any casino, you couldn't use your phone. You had to use their phone. But I put in, if you hire me, you have to allow me to keep my phone and I can use my phone at any time. He said, okay. So he hired me. And when I walked in the first time, now the same day that I said okay, he said, "Do you have time to go over to the casino?" I said, "Yeah, I'll go with you." So we went over to the casino, and I guess he was so impressed or so happy that he had somebody that could do AV for them.
What is AV?
AV is audio video, doing all your everything. When you walk into a casino, you hear sound, you see lights. So at this point, they didn't have anything like that already designed.
Okay.
So the first thing they designed me to do was to do the outside ambiance audio, so you can hear that as you walk into the casino, see different lights, stuff like that. So that was my first introduction to Greektown. But when he walked me in, he started introducing me to all management directors, VPs, the CEO, introducing me as his son. Wow.
Okay.
I just met him like 5 times. We went to breakfast. Now he introduced me as my son. He gonna be around. Get to know him. This is my son. I'm like, wow, okay. We need to raise that price that he paying me.
Right.
So
So
he
so
ended up.
so let's just say he was obviously a black man.
No, he's white.
What?
He's white. Tom Willer's a white guy out of casinos. Been in casinos know all everybody in Vegas. Know all the CEOs, all the owners. He know everybody.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, he's a white guy. Introduced me as his son. um, so we started getting together doing AV stuff, and there was a couple things that we needed. So when I was sitting in my office, I said, so what do we have for the stage? What is setting up in the stage? He said, well, let me send it to you. So he put together all these books and brought these pamphlets and books and manuals, and he put them on my desk. I'm looking. I said, "What is this?" He said, "Well, we gonna put all this stuff up for the stage." I said, "Man, this is not gonna work. This is not what you put in for a stage, because it was all stuff that you normally would just put in your house, like theater stuff. It was
Right.
Bose equipment."
Okay.
So he said, "Why you don't like this stuff?" I said, "Tom, do you know what Bose stand for?" He said, "No, what does it stand for?" I said, "Bring other sound equipment." So he said, "Well, just write down what we need." So I wrote down what we needed. He actually bought everything that I wrote down. So through that, we put up the first PA system for the Apollo stage at Greektown. And that did a couple generations where we changed it over and over again. But eventually, the person that they had hired to do the entertainment part wasn't doing a good job. So one day I'm in a meeting with Tom, and he said, "Man, do you do entertainment?" I said, "Well, that's my background." He said, "Well, would you be interested in being, along with what you already do, would you be interested in doing entertainment as well?" Man, I couldn't write it no quicker.
Tell me a little bit about, first off, before we get too far, how did you learn how AV and the production part? And then definitely you saying that um entertainment was your background. So tell me a little bit about both of those.
Okay, so I came out of Michigan with a degree in engineering,
Okay.
but it was a mechanical engineering. It had nothing to do with music at all, nothing.
Okay.
But one particular time I met a guy, and he introduced me to doing plays. His name was Ron Milner, and doing those plays during that time, I learned different aspects of lights, sound, set building, that kind of thing. And then one of the guys on that group on that team asked me if I would go with him to Chicago because his partner had died, and his partner was the finance guy. So
Okay.
he went to Chicago to do a play, and where he booked the venue, it was right on the border of the two two gangs that were just going head to head at each other. Man, when I say nobody showed up at the show, nobody showed up at the show. I mean, we lost every penny. The only people at the venue was us, the team, and then some of the entertainers. Even a couple of the entertainers didn't even come. But no tickets were sold at all.
Not one ticket.
Not one ticket. So I said, well, I can chalk this up, or I can learn more about this business. So I went to a place called the Disc, Detroit Entertainment, right on Grand River and 9 Mile in East Point in Detroit. And I
Yeah.
went
Sound
the
studio, right?
sound studio, yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I did 2 years over there. Ended up teaching over there for a couple years, and started learning more about the business and doing production or getting more uh, uh, established as sound and lights. They started hiring me as a crew guy. So I doing these crews, but then it got bigger and bigger to where we became the stage manager, then production manager, then touring manager, then road manager, that kind of thing, and it just grew.
Yeah.
And while doing that, I ran into a really, really good friend of mine, Sahida Mausi, who hired me to do all the staging at MGM. She was in charge of entertainment at MGM at that particular time. So I would have the artists come in, introduce myself. Let's say it was a 10-piece band. I would set up all the sound for that, that kind of thing, and then run it during the day. While doing that, the guy at Greetown offered me a position to not only do all the AV, but also begin to do all the entertainment. So
Okay.
I did the entertainment from, say, 2000 to 2009.
That's what I was
It's,
going to ask you. What year were you at the disc?
at the disc was 93.
Okay, because that's where Eminem, that's where he
Yeah,
was recording at. That's where
a-
Esham, I think, was recording there.
absolutely.
You ever run into any of them?
Uh, I heard that they had been there, but I never physically saw them face to face.
Okay.
But I will tell you that the SLL that's there to this day, it is such a big monitor. We had to hoist it up with a crane to
What's a
get it in.
SLL?
Huh?
What's a SLL?
It's the largest logistic uh, monitor that you can buy. I mean, when you say your normal, say it has 40 channels, this one had 120.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea, and it's just it's so big we had to pull it up on a crane. We had to hire a company to bring that crane up to lift it up. We had to take out the windowsill, the
Yeah.
whole window. We had to come out to get it in. It was incredible. So then I left there, started doing small stuff, started doing what's called Tropical Thursdays while on tour. Let me slow down. It's so much I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But during that time, I started getting a lot of work doing stage production for a lot of different artists. All you just think of any artist that you know from the '90s or late '80s through the '90s. I worked with them. I worked with every Jackson except for Michael Jackson. Michael always had his own crew because once you were hired by Michael, you didn't want to leave. That was like a career just to work for him. But everybody else, like my number one artist that I worked for to this day was Lou Ross.
Lou Ross.
I was his road manager for 2 years. I was with Lou Ross. But that's such a great guy, man. One of the greatest people, humans that I've ever met. Uh, God bless him.
Yeah, God bless Lou Rawls, man.
Yeah. So doing a different productions, touring. All of a sudden, I was just tired of touring, man. And
Yeah,
I toured for probably 20 years. And at that time is when I started doing this event called Tropical Thursdays at the Omni Hotel on the Detroit River. And every Thursday I would have maybe 500 people
That,
out.
that's Roberts River Walk now, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last time, but Dan Gilbert bought it, so he owns it now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, he owns it. Has not used it since he bought it. It's just sitting there.
Oh, it's not open anymore.
Not at all. It's been closed for a couple years now.
You know he playing Monopoly, man. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so you doing Tropical Thursdays. You done work with all these artists. Tropical Thursday, you just doing this as a one off. This is just to it's obviously to make money.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Right, right. So you got 500 people there. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, had 500 people there every Thursday. We did it from May through the beginning of September. We stopped right at Labor Day in
Okay,
September. But we did that for pretty much 8 years. And right while I was doing that is when I met the management company they were all from Vegas. The entire management company came from Vegas. And they saw what I was doing and they're the ones that hired me at Greektown. So
okay,
I ended up doing. I was the manager for AV and the director of entertainment. So I did quite a bit at Greektown, where I also started the first casino. The first we called it Raptures. It was the first club inside a casino called Raptors. I started that.
okay,
We did that for a number of years. Now, after that, Motown had clubs. MGM had 5 clubs, but we're the ones that started it.
okay.
And I started different programs. That's programs like Velocity. I designed a group called Velocity. We had 5 women. I'm sorry, 5 guys and 15 women dancing and singing and entertaining once a month. That went all over.
You mean just like one of those stage shows where they do cover songs?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay,
yeah. It turned out so well, and the girls were so good and so beautiful, so intelligent that they hired us to do one of the biggest shows in Miami when the Steelers, I'm sorry, not the Steelers, was in the Super Bowl,
okay.
and we drove out there to perform for them. We opened up for Howie Mandel in Detroit. We opened up for Earth, Wind, and Fire. It became much bigger than my group Velocity. To where
Yeah.
we could go to a Myers, and the young girls would come up and say, "Oh, I want to be a Velocity girl." you know, it turned out much bigger than I thought it would. They have put it on billboards all over Michigan. It was incredible. So finally, the casino unfortunately had to file bankruptcy. So when they had to file bankruptcy, the bankruptcy attorney told them that any department that was spending money opposed to making money had to be closed. So we had to close down the entertainment department.
Wow.
So, but God is good, man. So during that same
So,
period,
they didn't stop having entertainment.
yes, they closed down entertainment completely. First, they had me let my team go, which I had 6 guys that worked for me. I had to let them go, and then they called me into a meeting and said, "We want to meet with you." And I knew what they were going to meet about.
Yeah,
But I said, "You want me to come in just to get fired? I'm not coming to your meeting." So, but I knew my immediate management, my personally. So we were just making fun with each other. But when I went up to his office, I saw the VP of HR. And when you see the VP of HR meeting with you, you already know what's next. So they let me go at that time. But typically, when you're at a casino and they have decided to let you go, they walk you out. You can't just grab your uh, anything and just walk out with their stuff. You can't.
Yeah, they
But
got to put you on the walk of shame.
the walk of shame, yes, sir. So, but we're so close with everybody because at this point, I had been to all the owners, all the VPs, all the houses, putting in theaters stuff, entertainment stuff for their own personal use at the house, at their houses. So I knew them well. They knew me well. So they allowed me to sit in my office, which was not as nice as it sounds to everybody else. But sitting there knowing that you had just got fired, you know,
How many years did you work with Greektown?
10 years,
10 years with Greektown.
1 year with MGM.
Okay.
So when
And
I
you,
left, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. What your thought? What you gonna say?
Yeah, when I left Greektown, Joe Davis, one of the best guys that ever lived in Detroit, he was one of the African American owners of MGM. And he called me and said, "Hey, man, I heard that you left Greektown." I said, "Well, I didn't leave. They fired me because they had to, they had to shut it down because of the bankruptcy thing." He said, "Well, we got an opening at MGM. I want you to come over here with us."
Yeah.
I said, "I'd love to." He said, I can get you a interview, but you have to get in on your own." I said, "No problem. Let's do it." So he got me an interview with the new CEO of MGM, and I talked to him. There was about 100 people that had applied for the job. He broke it down to 5 people. So he called all 5 of us into a meeting together. He
Right.
said, I'm gonna ask you guys the same question." Fortunately, I was the last person. So he called me into the office. He said, "I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked everybody else. As the entertainment director, what would you do for us? How can you help us look good? How can you help us grow? How can you bring in more people through entertainment?" If I wrote down on paper what question I wanted them to ask me, that would have been the insane question. Man, I had so much in my head that I wanted to do anyway. So I started saying different things that I wanted to do. But then I got to where I said, "Sir, there's one other thing that I want to do, and I look forward to offering this because I wanted to do this at Greektown, but I never had the time. I want to do a dueling pianos room." He looked at me with this look,
A what
"Brother,
kind of room?
dueling pianos."
Dueling pianos.
Yes. And this CEO had just left New York, New York. And the thing he did right before he left New York, New York, was to have the entertainment department start a dueling pianos room.
Wow.
That's why I think God is good, man. It just everything just fit. So he heard that. He said, "Man, you hired."
Mm.
And that was that. And I stood there for a year, but in working there, man, it was tough working there. I won't get into that part, but it was tough to where I ended up grabbing my briefcase and just walking out. I never told them I was leaving. I just grabbed my briefcase and walked out. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. When
Man,
you
listen,
go from no, go ahead.
I've been working, thanks to you, I've been working in this entertainment logistics industry, and I see not only is it competitive,
Hmm.
but one of the things that was so shocking to me is it's a lot of egos.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
the egos are actually worse to me than the competition, because
Yes,
with the competition, that's just you either got it or you don't.
right. Yes.
But the egos, you can have it and still get pushed out your position because of
Oh,
somebody's ego. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So so we go from you doing plays to then you going into the casinos. Then you go from your last stop is MGM. Now, how do you transition from there? What is your next transition from there?
Well, it just so happened that right when I was at right before I left Greetown, a very good friend of mine, she's like my sister, Shahida Mousi, had just got the keys to take over the management for Chene Park, which is now the Aretha.
Okay.
And she called me and said, "Hey, we got the keys. Meet us over there. We get ready to have some champagne." So we met over there. We had a good time just in celebrating that we had, had the keys. And when I got released from MGM, well, when I left MGM, she called and said, "Hey, why don't you come over here with us?" Because while I was at Greektown, I know I'm bouncing a little bit. While I was at Greektown, one of the things I did was I had Greektown uh, do a sponsorship for Shane Park, which was a large. I won't remember how much it was, but it was a large amount. But it was through my input that we got that.
Yeah.
And so when I let her know that I was leaving MGM, she asked me to just come and join a team at Shane Park.
Okay.
So I stayed there, and at the same time, still kept working. But I noticed that one of the things we were doing that wasn't um, to my satisfaction, the way I wanted it done. I wanted everything to be 5-star level. It was more on a 3-star level at the time. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start a transportation company. I'm gonna do the transportation myself. I'll be in charge of transportation. So that's what I did, and I did it for 25 years. Met all the artists, and in doing entertainment, the artists are the first ones that you see, and the last one that you see when you're taking them back to the airport for them to leave the city. So I met a lot of artists at that time. A lot of artists. That's one of the benefits I had, and so many artists that I met, and you could gauge whether they were just for entertainment or if they were for money. It just kind of showed itself as you met them. Um, some artists I would say I look forward to working with again. Some artists I would say if I don't hear from them, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I got those stories too. And like I say, the way we met, it it was only fitting that because I always like the entertainment industry. Most people do. They think
Yeah,
that, you can think what it is, but at the same time, one thing I notice about the entertainment industry is some of your favorite entertainers are also groupies.
right.
They're groupies
Absolutely.
to somebody else,
Yes.
you know. And that was really crazy to me that I could see somebody like Gladys Knight
hmm
and not Gladys Knight. What's her contemporary? Who is that? It's Gladys Knight and
Patti
Patti LaBelle.
LaBelle. hmm
Yeah. So I was working with Patti LaBelle, and Patti LaBelle wanted to see Babyface, and she wanted to see him. And I actually videoed it because it was so crazy that she was
hmm
literally like a kid in a candy store.
Right.
She needed to see Babyface.
Absolutely.
And most people would think that would be the other way around.
Right. Right.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so tell me how's the transition from casinos to large venues? Like, is it a difference, or is it kind of more so the same? You know,
It's pretty much the same, but just more people, and
yeah,
there's more production done. There's more meetings. There's more activity. There's more transportation. It's just on a larger scale. Like for example, if you and I were doing a party together, we can call. Maybe call a caterer to set us some food. Have one of our transportation guys pick the artists up, bring them back. No problem.
yeah,
But when you're doing it with 20,000 people and you have 5 different artists, and each artist has a group of 10, so let's say it's 50 people. So
yeah,
now you got a group transportation for those 50 people. You have to get hotel space for those 50 people.
yeah.
You have to get a back line for those 50 artists.
What's backline?
The music instruments
Yeah,
like the drums and the bass, and mind you, some artists will share. A
yeah,
lot of artists will not share. So if you have 5 bands and they have 5 different drummers, you may or may not have to have 5 different drum sets.
Yeah.
And then if it's five different drum sets, you have to mic them
Mhm.
and you have to move them from one space to another because five different. If you can imagine the size of a typical stage, which is typically most venues that you see today are 40 by 40. So if you can imagine having to move five different drum sets, that's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if they don't share the bass or the guitar amps or the keyboards, you got to move all of this stuff in time to be ready. So setting up logistics, saying, okay, we're gonna do you. Typically, you do the headliner first,
Okay.
and you leave them. You push them to the back, but leave it set up.
Yeah.
Then you bring in somebody coming up next, but you may have to put them on rollers so you can set them up, but then you roll it out so you can bring it in when you're ready. But it's just a lot of moving parts as opposed to just doing like one artist that we would do for an event that you and I would have. As
Yeah.
opposed,
And I learned my lesson about backline. I hired, actually it was the show that I met you on. I hired Kajan
hey, job.
back when his single, what is it? The Ocean
Yes,
ship is coming in on the ocean.
right. 7 Mile Boy.
Yep. So I hired him for that show, and I knew nothing about backline.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. My team said, we had some discussion, and we like he knew he did that on purpose. But I ain't. I'm just gonna. But he knew I didn't know about. Well, I'm not gonna say he knew. I didn't know about backline, so there was none there. So I didn't tell y'all
Mm-hmm.
when I hired you guys. I didn't tell y'all to bring backline. I didn't know I
Right,
needed. We didn't do a physical rider until I think the day of.
right,
And it was
right.
on the email that I never really even got to see. But just because we were trying to get the money right, and it was my first event. But I didn't have backline there. But when he got there, he had his whole band show up, and they couldn't perform. He told me I'm gonna have to do this is gonna have to be a track date because, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a band to set the world record.
Right,
I
right.
saw one way in my eyes, but he said,
Yeah.
well, I got my band here. So he ended up taking the payment and just going to pay the band. I guess it was for the last show they did. And the band left.
Mm-hmm.
And he sat there and did a track date with me.
Wow.
That's how I learned my lesson about backline.
Hmm.
Never
I'm
knew about it.
I'm trying to recall that because that's a lot. You
Yeah,
know, for the headliner to show up and no backliners there, that's
exactly.
interesting. I can imagine your moment
Yeah, because
was
I,
a
I didn't I got I'm setting the world record. I got over 1,000 people waiting to see K John,
right.
and I want to see On the Ocean done live with a band.
Yeah,
Long story longer, man. It ended up working out, but I'm just telling you that I learned my lesson.
yeah.
So backline
I'm
is
trying to
important.
remember. It seemed like we ended up just bringing out some basic stuff so they could at least track some live to the tracks for for that song. I want to say we brought in a good went had somebody bring us a bass amp, guitar amp. I don't think there was a drummer. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a
Yeah, yeah.
drummer.
I think it was just like a one-off, just to play with the track.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just make it look real and
yeah.
live. Yeah.
So okay, but after decades of experience, man, what's the biggest lesson that you learned about systems, people, and the entertainment industry?
Well, the systems change all the time. You know, there's a new system probably every 2 3 years, and that's the goal of the production manager. The one of the main jobs for the production manager, one is to spend the least amount of money that the promoter has to leave. You want to look out for the promoter.
Okay,
But when you're getting these production writers, the production writer itself tells you exactly what each artist wants. One artist might want a AV system. Another artist might want an acoustic system. So you got to figure out which one you want to convince to have the same the same audio. And then you want to make sure that you're not overpriced or getting spending money that you don't have to spend because you have so many artists that you have to pay. Um, but so the main thing I would say would be the the production writer taking care of the production writer even before the promoter agrees to the event. Because so many times I can tell you over the years how many promoters shook their head because they didn't realize how much it was going to cost prior to agreeing to the contract. Because the contract can change. I can give you my contract for production. It may only cost you $1,000. But if I give you a production contract that's going to cost you $20,000, that's going to change the game for you making money.
Yeah.
So I would say the main thing I learned is to make sure that along with the promoter, we go over the production writer for each artist prior to saying, okay, we're going to bring him in to a concert.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all important, man. And I you say you work with Lou Rawls. You've worked with. I think I met Stevie Wonder working with you. I think even Aretha Franklin, man. I know you go way back with a lot of the greats from Detroit.
Yes, it just so happened we have two events coming up in 2026 for Stevie Wonder. I work with his first cousin, who is one of my very good friends. I think you met her, Dr. Dumas. She's coming in, bringing in Stevie in May and again in September 2026. And it's in honor of his career and his life. It's called The Walk of Love is in May, and then the Love Festival is in September. Uh, so hopefully maybe you'll be in the Detroit area. You can come and see what's up.
When is that?
We haven't set the date, but the month is May
Okay.
for the walk, and then the festival itself will be in September, probably the second weekend in September.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a festival. We haven't chosen the location yet. We're meeting, as a matter of fact, a week from today. We have our first meeting for 2026.
Okay. So speaking on just legacy and people that you can work with, give me one. I don't want to throw nobody under the bus, but give me one of your best and your worst encounters with an artist.
One of my best encounters with the artist, I would have to say Lou Ross.
Lou Rawls.
Um, not only because, but because he not only is an entertainer, he's a humanitarian. That's so important to me. And I don't know if you remember, but he, along with uh, man, what the heck is his name? The other guy that does the annual, uh, it's like a 24-hour event. Jerry, what's Jerry's last name? Jerry Lewis. Yeah, Jerry Lewis does his thing, and Lou Ross does his thing the same way. And I just saw what he was doing for the people and how he connected to his community. I haven't seen anybody else connect like that and do so much like that for the community as an entertainer, like 24/7. What like just every now and again, but for 24/7, he just was all about his community, man, and that has always stuck with me. He and his entire team.
Man, speaking of there's just that humanitarian efforts, man, I remember we did that show that you did the production for when we met. We ended up exchanging numbers, and I think I reached out to you about, I don't know how we got on the subject, but I asked you, I said, man, because a lot of people ask me, how did I get into transportation dealing with those entertainers?
Hmm.
Always bring up the fact that it was a relationship. It
Yeah.
wasn't that I didn't put a resume in.
Right.
I
Right.
wasn't in the business. We talked, and you said you needed a driver. Somebody had backed out,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
I had access to the vehicle, and we did that one show. And from that point on, I've been working with you at Chene Park, man. And that experience was a once in a lifetime experience because it wasn't the fact that the pay was super great because you when you're doing those shows, you have to be available around the clock.
Absolutely. That
Yeah,
is for sure.
yeah. People don't know the back. Yeah, like
Yes.
that transportation guy who's working with those artists, he's on call like a doctor.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
he is.
and we sleep in the truck. I just slept in the truck so many times. I've not slept, and but the access, it was the access. People, some people would do it for free.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
was one of those things just to get to be. And one of the things that I would like to touch on about the artists and getting to meet all these different people. A lot of these people, they're around some of the most smartest people in the world
Oh, absolutely.
because of they are some of the smartest people.
Yes. No doubt.
Speaking of, I could just different artists that just blew my mind as we rolled back because I got we get to ride with them from the airport. They just coming
Yes.
in, they kind of letting their hair down. They want to relax. You have to gauge whether you're going to talk to them.
Right. Yeah.
You have to know when they don't want to talk, and then you want to be knowledgeable of the area. They want to eat different places,
Right.
and that whole experience, man, was great. You being that type of guy, you've mentored so many guys into this business, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I tell you, brother, we don't hire just anybody as a driver. We say that that's what they do. They drive.
Yeah,
However, you have to have a particular discipline to become a driver in my transportation company.
yeah,
You can't just hire somebody that typically he would be cutting grass and now he wants to be a driver. No, it just don't work like that.
right,
Like you had mentioned, your ability to communicate
yeah,
when communicated is warranted. 'Cause sometimes you might take somebody from Detroit to Atlanta and not say a word
yeah.
because that's just what they want at the time. So
I,
you have to
I
be.
held a grudge, not to cut you off, but
Mm,
I drove Jeezy for an hour and a half each way, and he did
mhm.
not say not one word. We said what
Exactly.
up when we got in the car, and that was it.
A lot of times that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
Because I have had to stop hiring certain people because they just couldn't stop talking.
yeah,
And the artist would call me, "Hey, let me talk to you, Tony." Man, why is ask me all these questions? I don't want to talk. So I'd have to say, "Hey, man, we're gonna do something different." I've actually had people leave and bring somebody else in to complete that gig because they just wanted somebody just to drive and not say anything.
not say
They
nothing.
want to go A to B and B back to A and then A to C, and that's it. They gone.
Yeah,
But don't drive me around and ask me all these questions like you a groupie, and now you want to take pictures. And no, let me
yeah,
tell you, I can tell you this, and this is the truth. I've been doing transportation. We're gonna say 30 years.
yeah,
In all that time, I have went inside of the venue to talk to artists maybe 5 times.
yeah. You always I never see you inside.
I always sitting in my truck, man. And it's just for me. There's so many things you don't know who likes who, what artists like what artists, who wants to talk to this artist, who wants to sit next to this particular artist.
Yeah,
So I just sit in my truck and let them take care of all of that.
yeah,
I don't want to have to make a decision on that. I want to take you from A to B safely and get you back safely. That's all. That's all I'm concerned with, man.
Yeah. You know, one thing that's funny about that business too is, and I don't know if this is your experience, maybe because different people bring out different energies in people.
Right.
But a lot of these entertainers don't tip.
Oh, so most of them don't tell.
Yeah, it was strange to me. That's why when people do, that it's unforgettable, and it's not so much
Right.
we're starving,
Right. Right.
but it is that it's a service that we're
Yes.
providing, and we
Yes.
go above and beyond. I remember, uh, shout out to Rick Ross, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Rick Ross gave Rick Ross got to give him the crown as the boss because Rick Ross gave me $800 for a tip.
Mm.
Then tipped the guy who I brought in, which was my cousin. Shout out to CJ. He gave him $800
Wow.
for a
Okay.
day. So you already know that's unheard of.
That's unheard of.
That's unheard of. So shout out to Rick Ross for
I
that.
can tell you that I drove Will Downing to, and I love that telling this story because it's one of my best stories. I drove him from the hotel to the airport. He was leaving
Okay.
Detroit and arriving, like I want to say 10 minutes from the airport. He realized he had left all of his money that he just made at Chene Park in the hotel room,
Oh wow.
some $30,000. And you can imagine what the mindset is when you left all your money in the hotel room. So we immediately turned around, made a couple phone calls, arrived back at the hotel. Every penny that he left was there with one of the girls that had cleaned his room.
Wow.
She didn't take anything, didn't say anything about it, couldn't find it. She's
Yeah.
so honest, you know. Some people just like that, man. It's in you. If that's you, that's just you.
That's just
But
you.
if it's not you, that money is gone.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you know what I'm saying? It's like when we picking up artists, some artists, um, just in the way they ride with you and the way they talk and making phone calls and the way they talking to other people, how they talking to other people while they're talking to other people on the phone
Right.
tells me a lot about who they are just in a conversation they had with somebody I can't even hear. I can just hear the artist talking to somebody on the phone, but they can say things that make you go, hmm.
Yeah.
You know, things that make you go, hmm. But then there's other artists that you know from jump, like one of my favorite people is Fantasia.
Okay. I
I
never
had to
worked with
pick up, huh?
never worked with her.
Yeah, I had to pick up Fantasia last year, and then her husband decided to come, and he flew on a separate flight on a different day, and I picked him up.
Yeah.
And they were both so kind, not just kind to me, but just you can tell just how kind they are to each other.
Yeah.
And then uh you know who I can't remember his name. I was trying to remember Fantasia's husband's name. But you know him very well. Everybody knows
I didn't even know she
Fant-
was married.
yeah, she is. But she
Okay.
married somebody that we all know. He's a oh God, I can't remember his name. But he's a CEO of a large company.
Okay.
I just can't think of his name. But just Fantasia is just such a kind person. I remember taking her back to the airport, and upon exiting the car, she was talking to other people. She told other people, "Wait, hold on a minute. I got to thank my driver."
Hmm.
You know, and it wasn't the money involved, which at that point I was just stunned that she said that much.
Yeah.
But she hugged me and said, "You know, have a good life. Hope again, thanks for keeping us safe." You know, that kind. It was just so genuine,
Yeah.
and that's not doesn't happen very often.
Man, listen, while we speaking on these artists, the Migos, man, before,
Oh yeah.
yeah, before
Mm.
they had the death in the group, and lost
Yeah.
Takeoff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Rest in peace to him. But there was some energy in that vehicle, man. I'm not going to speak on it too much, but
Right.
I'm gonna say that they did a prayer while we were riding on the freeway. They smoked, they smoking good, edibles or whatever, medicinals. We riding to the airport. They had a private jet. I had told them that they couldn't smoke in the truck. It was a rental. They disregarded that.
Mm.
But they smoked up. They told me, man, let the window up. We need to keep this smoke in here. And I think they said a prayer and they let all the windows down and let the prayer go out with the smoke.
Mm.
And we got on the private. They got on the private jet. But I remember asking Takeoff for a picture because we
Hmm.
just had we had a good energy the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Quavo came in and said, "Nah, man, he ain't doing that." And I was like, "Okay," so that gave me a dynamic of everything. I think you know what I mean. At least
Yeah.
I put in my head, okay, so he not making his long story longer, man. They get on the plane, but I never stopped thinking about that moment
Hmm.
because it was a prayer, and
Yeah.
then everything going the way it was, and then I got that resistance.
Yeah.
And then he ended up passing, and it was just like it was just crazy, So
Yeah. A good
I wish
friend of
the boys
mine.
the best, huh?
No, I was gonna say a good friend of mine, Kenny Simpson, is their manager,
Okay,
and Kenny Simpson been around forever. He's just a nice one of those genuine guys, man.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know. So I
But
was happy to see that he hooked up because he didn't have a job for a long time.
you say he didn't?
Yeah, he had left, and I don't think he worked for 2 years.
Okay,
Then they hooked him up with the Migos.
okay. Are they still a group?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. So we about an hour in, man. But if it's something some advice that you would give somebody new coming into production as well as transportation, what's something some advice you would give them?
Um, accept only what you can handle. If somebody wants to book you for transportation and they need 5 vehicles, if you don't have 5 vehicles, don't take the gig. If they're trying to give you less money than what you deserve, don't take the gig.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out here. I won't mention any names, whether it's artists or promoters. They have in mind what they want to spend,
Hmm.
and they make it a challenge for transportation a lot of times because they can call you. You say, "Okay, I can do this gig for $100." They're gonna say, "Okay, I'll call you back." Then they call one of their boys and say, "Hey, man, I got a thing happening. Can you do this for $50?" If they say yeah, then they gonna go with that $50.
Right.
Um, so it's a lot of unknowns, competitive wise, that a
Yeah.
lot of times we don't know about. But stay to what you want to do as a company, whether it's transportation or production. Get what your worth is, man.
Yeah.
Don't settle just to get the gig, because there will always be other companies that want to underbid you. Whether it's they don't like you, they're gonna do it whatever they want to do to get it. They don't have the money, so they're gonna take whatever they can take. But stay to where you at, and God will bless you, and just stick to your guns.
Okay. Okay. No, that's real. That's real. I can, I've experienced that as well. And then you got the janky promoters. You run into those, and then you got the janky. It's so many different variables to the business, man.
Yeah, you got the janky vehicles themselves. If
Yeah.
I'm telling you I will show up in a 2026 Escalade, and somebody else saying I can do it, if I'm charging $100, but somebody else call and say I can do it for 25 cents, but they gonna show up in a 1919 get out and push.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a different kind of vehicle.
Yeah. Listen, how is the business today? Are you still doing any transportation or any logistics today?
Yeah, it just so happened that a very good friend of mine, one of the promoters I've worked with at least 30 years doing production and transportation. His name is Quentin Perry. Um,
Oh, Quentin Perry, man.
old Quentin
Le-
Perry.
Legend.
Absolutely legend. Legend.
Yeah.
Uh, and I used to be his production manager for everything he did, including when we went on tour with my brother Marvin three different times.
Yeah.
And I was the production manager. And so now he has partnered with Dan Gilbert, and they bought a venue in Detroit, and they're going to make it the number one supper club in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
And we've already had conversations about what it's going to look like. And he's turning over all transportation to me to handle for him. And one of the things that he asked me, which was something it was a new situation for me. He said, "Can we make sure that we have medical transportation vehicles that can pick up people in wheelchairs? Because I want anybody to be able to come to my supper club."
Okay.
That's the first time I heard that one. When you're looking out for disabled people.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, can we make, he didn't say, I need you to do this. He said, can we make sure that we can transport those with disabilities in
So
wheelchairs?
what would this be like a 200, 300 seater, or is this something a little bigger than that, like like a Fox or
No, it's 3 to 500 with a stage.
okay,
It'll have in the lower level, what do you call it? Where you smoke at cigar bar.
okay,
It's beautiful. I've seen the renderings for it, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's the old Comerica Park. I'm not Comerica Bank, right on the corner of Shelby and
yeah.
Fourth Street.
Well,
That they used,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, they use it for when the Super Bowl was in Detroit. They use it for a lot of parties over there. It's a
Okay.
huge space. It's huge.
Well, I don't know if this is finalized, so I'm gonna leave this out of the edit. I was just reading. Remember Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine were in the process
Yes,
of doing the deal with Apple,
yes, yes, sir.
and and Dr. Dre was celebrating that night with Tyrese, and Tyrese said, "Y'all looking at the first black billionaire in entertainment," and that post on Facebook cost Jimmy Iovine and Dre $200 million.
Wow. I remember that. I couldn't remember the number, but that's a lot
Tim
of
Cook
money.
or whoever the head guy was from Apple ended up
Mm,
calling Jimmy Iovine and pissed off
mm,
because they were trying to, they being strategic, and that
right.
right there went viral.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember when it happened. I remember when I saw the post, and that he lost that right there stopped them from getting a billion. They ended up getting 800 million or something like that. So
Wow.
I don't know if this is final, so I'm gonna leave that out. I'm gonna leave that out, man. But you
My
let
move.
off camera, you let me know, and I put it in.
Yeah,
But
okay.
in closing, man, I want to talk to you a little bit about the next generation. I know your son is in transportation, and you've
Yes.
done a lot with him. Tell me a little bit about raising just a fine young man to walk in your footsteps.
All right. First of all, his name is Cameron Wilson, my son. And in 2024, while I was still in charge of transportation for the Aretha, I hired him as my lead driver. So he was able to see how the business was being run. And another young man was there. So I was asked by the transportation director or executive director, Malik Mausi. He had asked me to share my knowledge with my son and this other young man named Fred, so they could eventually take over transportation. So, and that was a wonderful thing to do. First of all, it helped me prepare them with what I knew, and being my younger age, and being them even younger, to go from how I was doing things to go to a 22-year-old the way he would do things,
Right.
to go in already with a mindset. This is how we do it. If we want to use that word or that song, for Montel, this is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
So he went in 2025 and did an amazing job in running the transportation and a 22-year-old. Because I can say I was there for almost 30 years, and I started when I was so. So just to be with him and him be my son and watching him grow, because that was just for him a summer job.
Yeah.
As of May 2026, he will have his master's
Okay.
in kinesiology. He's going into sports medicine.
Okay.
Um, so it,
Shout out to him for that. Congratulations on that.
absolutely, yes,
Amazing.
yes, yes, sir. Very, very proud of him. Very proud of him. So to be able to have two young men at that time, at their age, to do something, and even the look, I'm not even upset to say that seeing younger people grow into what I was doing, for them to do it from a younger perspective. I was still old school, I was
Yeah.
60 years old, so
Hmm.
to do it from an old school perspective was amazing. To see them be able to do it as a 22, I think, Fred, I think was 30. My son is 22. But to see them do it as a young team, I loved every minute of it. And of course, they had their own way of doing things, which I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah. But to hand over the reins, man, that's big of you. And it's a family affair, man. So it's the legacy.
Yes.
But also, I want to give you your flowers, man, because I've seen you selflessly bring people on board, set people up for success. Not only your son, I've seen you partner with people that haven't been the best people to you. Um, from people not wanting to pay, from people saying they're gonna do this and not doing it, and you always keep a certain level of professionalism, and you never say anybody's name, and you know what I mean. Is that?
Yeah.
And I've seen some things that I wasn't happy with that you dealt with, but you dealt with it with grace. So I want to give you your flowers, man, because this business is it's unforgiving. It's a lot. You see a lot of people in the background working, and the spoils tend to go to a couple people at the top.
Yeah.
So that's not to complain because they worked hard. So we don't want to take nothing away from what they did.
Right.
You
Yes,
know,
sir.
So, but you just keeping your poker face on for so many years throughout different friendships and business partnerships and things not how do you that's the one thing I want to ask you. How do you approach because I have some things in the hopper right now that I'm working on. When I first moved here to Nashville, we had $1 million, multi-million dollar deal on the table, and that didn't work out how we wanted it to.
Oh,
Not
the one I know about.
Yeah, the one you know about.
Okay.
Yeah, and that didn't work out the way that we wanted it to. But I got some other things that are going on. How do you approach new deals, new partnerships, and new opportunities? How are you approaching that kind of stuff these days?
I can tell you, I was talking with a friend of mine, and they were telling me that for 2026, they were choosing a word that will carry them through the year. Her word was freedom. So that she's gonna follow that freedom this, freedom that, freedom this, freedom to do this, freedom to do that. Freedom is a word. So I'm gonna say for 2026, for what you're doing or what you're going to be doing, I would say use the word transparency.
Transparency.
Right. Because anything less is not gonna work. They're gonna hide it, they're gonna be selfish, they're gonna try to be
Yeah.
cruel, they're gonna be mean, they're gonna be nasty. But being transparent or them having to be transparent with you and you to them, everything is on the table. Because this year, 2026, there's a lot going on with people trying to hide a lot of information, misinformation,
Right.
especially from the government. So I would say transparency to know exactly what you're getting into and getting out of.
Yeah. Okay. It's a real leverage game, man. I notice everybody's using leverage, whether they
Yeah.
want to or not. You using your leverage. You come in
Yes.
and you say, "This is the experience that I have. This
Yes.
is what I can do. This is what I've done." That's your leverage.
You know, the other thing along with that, my brother, is people bring me to the table, even if it's not exactly what I've been trained to do, because they trust me and they know if it's an apple, I'm gonna say I have an apple. I'm not gonna have a banana, but I have an apple in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Transparency is huge in this business, and I get a lot of work just from being honest and being transparent and being trustworthy with folk. That's one of the reasons I hate to bring up politics, but I love um, Sister Crockett. I
Oh,
just love her because she's so transparent and so honest with you. Every time she speaks, it don't matter what she's talking about, she's speaking on truth.
yeah,
You know, whether it hurts her or not. It's just, and I love people like that, man. I love just being transparent, just being honest, being truthworthy. I just love it. So I'm all about the truth, brother. Have been, and that's what I teach my sons: being transparent.
being transparent.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. Listen, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know this is last minute. I wanted to get your wisdom, your expertise. I also wanted to highlight you, man, because you get down in the trenches. I don't care what it is. I done seen you. You. I know you had some stuff going in Pontiac, or was that Romulus?
Romulus.
Yeah, yeah. I know you got that deal on the table, and I just seen you. You still got that childlike enthusiasm for all of this stuff.
Yes.
You got sick a couple years back, and it was
Yes.
rough. And I saw you come out of that. You had some memory issues,
Right. Yes,
uh,
sir.
some motor skills, and you bounced back and you came back. Not only did you make it back, you came back stronger. All your relationships still intact. So, like I said, I want to give you flowers, man. Me and you
Man.
just sat and broke bread. I remember when I got my place in Detroit it was over in the east side of Detroit, and it was random. We were together, and my block club was doing something on the block.
Yes, I loved every minute of
Yeah, and it just popped up, and I went and brought
it.
my speakers outside, and
Right. Right.
playing, and we sat there
All day.
all day.
And ate
And that's
food.
the
Ate some
type of
good food.
friendships that that you get them far and in between, but when you get them, they lifelong, man. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you, bro. Is there anything you want to say in closing? I know it's a lot we didn't touch on. We trying to condense 40 years into an hour. So, is there anything else you want to say in closing?
I want to say, if I haven't, let me just thank God for all that we both have accomplished, and He has helped us with our health. Because God is in front of all of this, brother. It can't happen without Him. And I thank God for all He has brought me through. As you mentioned, the health and the work, all because of God, our Jesus Christ, brother. I'm just loving to death, and I'll always thank for all that I get.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So shout out to the blessings that we receive, man. So in closing, man, there are people who are going through a lot. We got this new AI
Mm.
emergence. You've lived through uh, no cell phones. You went from tapes. I don't know if you ain't touched 8 tracks, did you?
Oh, absolutely. I still have some.
Okay, so you went from 8 tracks to tape to CDs
I have
to
an 8 track remains. I have an 8 track machine in my living room right now.
wow. But you go from there to AI.
Yes.
So many different variables that come into play through that transition. Looking at the world today, how optimistic are you about the future?
Let me say this. I'm glad you asked that question, brother. I like the technology of AI. I am worried and afraid on what it's going to do to those that are not prepared to have their hands on a product like AI, and they're uh, unworthy for it, is the word I use. AI can be beneficial to the world, but the misuse of AI, I think, has the it scares me on what it might cause
Yeah,
for those of us that are not like you and I. We're just gonna do what's best for us to be better um companies, that kind of thing. But they're gonna use it to make more money or to be evil stuff.
yeah, yeah,
And the evilness of AI is what bothers me because it's not controlled,
yeah,
um, and it popped up so quick.
yeah,
And meet the media itself and social media is already even before this whole AI. I was already worried
yeah,
from social media, and now AI comes in and it takes it to a whole new level. And
yeah.
5 years from now, I don't know what we're gonna be doing, brother. You might be sitting there having dinner with somebody, and it might be AI.
Exactly, exactly.
So I don't know, bro.
Well, you know that when we got the horse and carriage, we went from horse and carriage to car.
Right.
Worried about driving and accidents
Yes.
and then when we went from remember we turned the TVs from digital, I mean from analog to digital, and we
Yes.
I remember that day they said after today, no more antennas,
Yes,
we're
sir.
going digital. And as long as the internet works, we got a chance. But if the internet, well, really, we're gonna be all right regardless. Black people gonna be all right.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
about everybody. I can't speak for everybody else, but we know how to work with nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, man, shout out to you for coming on the show. If you're not, I don't know if you're doing any mentorships or anything. We'll talk about that kind of off camera. I know you got your son and you got so a lot of his friends that you work with or some of his friends. So you probably got your hands full. But if
Yeah.
there are any mentoring opportunities for young people, I'll put that in the edit.
Yeah. I do that once a week
Oh, okay.
with some kids from 5 to 17.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we got to make sure that when we leave here, we don't everything don't go with us.
Right.
Yeah, we got to pour into the
Yeah.
next generation, man. So that's one of
Amen
the
to
things
that,
I do
bro.
with the show. Um, Anybody watching the show, I appreciate y'all coming on today and taking this time with us. This is the Pattern Disruption Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, like, share, and
Like it with the quickness. Like it.
quickness. And then my
Take
new
care, my
book just
boy.
came out January 1st. It's called Quotes for Kings, Quotes for Queens. It is a interactive book where you can literally take quotes and wisdom from ages, 101
Mm.
quotes from highly successful men and highly successful women, and you could take this wisdom from ages and you could build on those thoughts, and there's so many opportunities and that can jog your imagination and you can build on. So make sure you go to Quotes for Queens, Quotes for Kings on Facebook, and also the website will be in the description. So I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming on the show. Tone, I want
Thanks for
you,
having me, man. Thanks for what you're doing, brother. Appreciate it.
man, for sure. I appreciate you. I'm gonna put you backstage for a minute. Don't disconnect yet. I want to make sure everything download.
You got it.
All right.